Hi everyone, welcome back to a new episode of Little Shop of Nerds. I'm Julia.
Mike, what's up?
And even though this is our video that's coming out after the holidays, after Christmas, I still wanted to wear my Rengoku Ugly Christmas sweater and my Christmas hat for one last time. Also, I have some news for you guys. She got her cone off yesterday, so she no longer has to wear the cone of shame, and she's not too happy right now. And then I also have Chewy behind me. There's Chewy. So, good day today. So, Mike, last week's hint was
Let the ball drop.
let the ball drop. Okay, so today we are going to be talking about I think it's a 2011 movie called New Year's Eve.
It's pretty much about, how can I say this? It's about everyone in New York City going throughout the day of their lives during New Year's Eve.
I wouldn't say it was everybody. It was a few core. It was. I liked the premise that they had of it, which was where it focused on multiple different people, and you saw how their lives intertwined with each other.
You got Robert De Niro. You got John Bon
Jovi, Hilary Swank, Sarah Jessica Parker. There was that chick from Modern Family that played
Sofia forgot.
She plays the Latino woman from American Family or Modern Family. Sorry.
She used to marry the Joe. What's his name?
Yeah, and Carrie Elvis, which was he played Wesley in The Princess Bride. He was also in
it. Halle Berry.
We also had
Zac Efron.
Hold on, let me pull it up real quick. And Ludacris, the rapper, was also in it.
I think as a cop.
Yes, he was the cop.
You also had the guy who was in Pretty Woman.
Yeah, Hector Elizondo.
You also know him from also The Princess Diary, and also Last Man Standing with Tim Allen.
He was. We also had. Katherine Heigl was in it as well. There was a lot of. Ashton Kutcher, Leah Michelle, I think is her name. She was in there as well. I think she's from like Glee or something like that.
That crappy show.
She's a very good singer. I mean, so Rotten Tomatoes actually gave it a very low score. I'm gonna pull that up. Let me pull it up real quick. So yeah. Rotten Tomatoes did not seem to really like it very much. Let's see, let me pull up here real quick. It had Jessica Biel. So they gave it. The critics gave it a 7%.
Also,
excuse me.
Also, Seth Meyers is in it.
Yeah. So critics gave it a 7%, and the audience gave it a 45%. So it had Jessica Biel, Zac Efron, Robert De Niro, Halle Berry,
John Lithgow.
Yeah, I forgot about him.
Matthew Broderick. See, there were some people who, they were like cameos. And they also had some...
Michelle Pfeiffer was in there.
Oh, nice.
Alyssa Milano. Sarah Paulson. It had a lot of different actors and like big actors and actresses in this movie. And so basically you're just going through and you're just trying to see how people live their life. Like one woman was the person who made sure that the ball dropped on time. You had another one who she was a fashion designer, but she needed to meet her, or she wanted to spend Christmas with her daughter, or not Christmas, New Year's Eve with her daughter because
Which, yeah, she wanted, because she's divorced and everything, and she also designs clothes for the Rockettes.
yeah, and then you had there was a couple people that got married, and the groomsman or the guy or one of the guys that was a witness there, you saw his story. You had a story about like where John Bon Jovi's character was a big rock singer, which if you guys don't know who John Bon Jovi is, which if you don't, you're living under a rock.
He's a famous singer throughout the 80s and 90s. You might know,
and early 2000s.
And early 2000s. You might know some of his big hits, Living on a Prayer, Bad Medicine.
It's My Life, which was really popular back in the early 2000s.
And there's also Give Love a Bad Name, and also my all-time favorite, Wanted Dead or Alive.
My favorite song by him is probably the one from 2000. I just said it.
Can't Go Home?
No. I just said the name of the song.
It's My Life?
Yeah, It's My Life. That's my favorite. So, you had him and like the girl that he was in love with, that he just kind of they're ex-lovers,
and she's a chef.
Yeah, and then you had the daughter of the fashion designer. You saw a little bit of her life. You saw the fashion designer's brother. He was in there because he was trying to help one woman fill out her New Year's resolution before midnight.
And he did, pretty much.
Yeah, and then you had, Ashton Kutcher's character was stuck on the elevator for, I think they said 8 hours with Lea Michele, with her character.
Yeah, and pretty much he's a downer because something bad happened to him on New Year's, and...
Yeah, and then Robert De Niro's character was dying from cancer, I think it was cancer, in the hospital. I feel like I'm missing one.
There's Halle Berry spending time with Robert De Niro.
Yeah, because she was his nurse.
But so his daughter came, played by Hilary.
How about this? So Hilary Swank.
Same.
So what we'll do is, we don't want to forget about Jessica Biel's character. Her and her husband were pregnant, and they were there to as long as, so the hospital was having this thing where anybody who gives birth before midnight, they will get $25,000, or get married, or give birth after midnight. So the first baby born on January 1st, they would get $25,000. Well, there was another couple there that was also trying to get that $25,000. So then you see how they're just kind of like fighting with each other to try to get that money. So I think it would probably be best if we try to go through and try to see where these would all interconnect.
Right.
So, like, you started talking about Hilary Swank and Robert De Niro. So, Hilary Swank's character, her father in the movie was Robert De Niro, which, like I said, he was dying from cancer or I think it was cancer. He was trying to live long enough to
see the ball drop
one last time.
Because him and his daughter and wife would do that every year,
and it turns out that she's the one that actually handled the ball dropping. The ball, broke halfway up. So then, of course, they had to call in Hector Elizondo to come in and his character come in and fix it.
Yep.
So then, you see Ludacris's character there. His family comes in there towards the end of the movie. So then so then that one kind of connects into with Halle Berry's character. Her husband, she's his nurse, and her husband's overseas in the military.
Yep.
And she dresses all nice for him and everything. So then Robert De Niro's character does die after New Year's, like after the ball drops. And then you see it go over to they take Hilary Swank's character over to see
The
new babies. And then that kind of connects into with Jessica Biel's character and all of that. And they're like, "Oh yeah, I gave birth to they said that they gave birth to their baby boy at 12 or well the guys they were fighting with he has already had 2 little girls and his wife was pregnant again, and he saw that, and the husband to Jessica Biel saw that, and he was just like, because he was more concerned about getting the money, and Jessica Biel was like, I don't care about the money anymore, I just want to have the baby.
And can you blame her? Nope. To anyone who's a mom or anything who goes through that, you are troopers, because you're like pushing a watermelon out of a fold. I don't know how you guys do it.
And she was doing it without like any epidurals or anything. And no pain meds, no nothing.
I don't blame her. I get it, you want a natural birth. But then again, you want to go through... I don't want to get... That's their right.
Yeah, so like they were actually trying to have the doctor perform a C-section like at midnight. So they would be the first. But the doctor's like, I'm not doing that. She's like, you guys just want to do this for some money? And she kind of like...
I think that the woman who played the doctor she played the mom on Spy Kids.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
She kind of seemed a little hippie-ish in the movie. So then he was like, oh, yeah. So the guy across the hall, like the guy that they were kind of feuding with, he comes in, he is like, what time did you give birth? He's like, because we gave birth at 12:04. And then, Jessica Biel's husband was like, oh, well, we gave birth at 12:05. Even though I think that they had given birth first.
Yeah.
They just did that just so they could have the money. Because they're just like, they probably need it more. Because, they have two little girls. And this is their 3rd daughter. So, that's how that connected in with each other. So then Hilary Swank's character, her arc kind of connected into John Bon Jovi's character. So then John Bon Jovi is also with Katherine Heigl.
Which you don't see her in anything no more.
Yeah, not anymore. Not after, I think it was Knocked Up was the last movie that she was in.
Well, either way, can you blame Hollywood?
Then she said, like, it was sexist and stuff like that. And then she basically, like...
Well...
badmouth Seth Rogen.
I don't know. Either way, one, she's in a raunchy comedy. There are going to be a lot of sexist stuff in there. But but I get where she's coming from, though. But then again, there was a lot of people in Hollywood saying she would always badmouth productions, always think she's the best. Everything revolves around her, why they don't want to work with her no more. But then again, look at James Franco. You don't see him in any shit anymore because what he did was wrong.
Yeah, so,
But besides that, yes, John Jovi's character is like a famous rock star
named Jensen.
And he's pretty much wants to win Katherine Heigl's characters back because he realized he made a mistake, but she doesn't want that because, hey, you left me for your career.
Yeah, he was going to propose to her, but then he got cold feet and he just left.
Yep.
He basically ran away and left her alone. So then that was him coming back. He's like, I'm ready to commit. And she's like, but we did your life. I want to live my life. And, so then, you go through their whole arc where they talk and they come back to a realization of what's going on.
Yeah, and Sophia's character keeps hitting on him and everything else. They're putting everything to this banquet, and what was it? what was it? Catherine Beale's going through everyone's scene. Everything's having fun at this banquet. The mom, who's the groomsman, just said he wasn't gonna play here unless we hired you.
Yeah.
And I can't tell if she was happy or sad in that moment, but
I mean, I thought that she probably felt. I'm going to say that she might have felt happy because, I mean, that was a big opportunity for her character.
yeah.
To do something of that magnitude,
And
because it was a huge, like, really, like, that you had to have cards, like invitations to get into this, which we will actually we'll be getting into that here pretty
yes,
soon.
and here and how this ties in with Hilary Swank and Bon Jovi's character, where he's like just getting ready to do this thing for the New Year's thing, but he's like doesn't want to do it. Hilary Swank's character just says she didn't want to share the world with you,
Which kind of made him think, like, maybe I do need, if I'm serious about this, then I need to. Which he did tell her later, because he was going on tour again after the new year. But then after that, he was just like, I canceled my tour. He's like, and I'm committed to making this work.
Yep.
So then this ties into Zac Efron's character, which was the groomsman who, at least the witness to seeing two of his friends get married. So his car breaks down, he crashes it. And then the guy that played the father in 10 Things I Hate About You.
Oh yeah.
Was the tow truck driver. And so he takes it to a mechanic. Well, the mechanic is closed. They're trying to get a rental car, but there were no rentals available, I'm assuming. And he had to get onto this RV with this family.
Yep.
Because his family was going to go ahead and get him to New York City, where he had to, which is where he had to go, because his mother was the one who hosted that banquet that Katherine Heigl's character was catering. So as you can see, it's all starting to kind of like come together.
Yes, and the family in the RV asks like why and they're asking about why he was dressed in a tuxedo and ask about his speech. Then they ask him what happened last year. He talked about he was going to make a speech, but didn't feel like he could, so he leaves a bit, goes to a bar or a pizza place to get pizza, whatever. Talks to a woman, and she asks him like, "What does your heart want, right?" And she said about that. He left to go to the bathroom, leaves a note on a napkin saying, meet back at this place again next year.
If you're serious or something like that. So the person that's driving the RV, I think it was his father. He was horny.
No. It was the guy who's driving it was the son-in-law.
I said I thought it was his father, but it must have been his wife's father.
Yeah.
Horny, because he was like, "Well, did you boink her?" And he's like, "No." He's like, "We just talked," and he's like, "I'll do it," and I'm like, "Oh my god!" Like, I'm going to agree. There were some of these stories that just kind of made me laugh a little bit. Just that was one of the parts that made me laugh. So then they get him to the bank. They get him into New York. And he was able to give his speech, and then he ran off to. These two girls were hitting on him, and basically they were implying that they wanted a threesome with him. And he looked at the clock, and it was like 1:45 midnight, and he's just like, "No," he's like, "We're not. I'm not interested." And he runs off, and he goes to the pizza place, and he finds out that the pizza place is closed. So then he's just kind of sitting there feeling sorry for himself. So this is where it's going to tie into another story, which is with Sarah Jessica Parker's character. She was the one that he met a year ago. And
what she's doing is she wants to be with her daughter, But it's one of those moms that are like, she's what, 15, 16 years old.
Something like that, yeah.
And she's like overprotective, saying, she doesn't trust her. She shouldn't be. I'm like, one, I get your point, but two, she's of age. You need to, like, how can I say
I
this?
mean, at 15 and 16 years old, you're starting to want to kind of have a little bit more freedom from your parents. Because I know I definitely felt like that. And I know that my mom gave me a lot more freedom than she probably should have. Because I was constantly staying out after curfew. Well, I mean, at that point I was like 17. I was constantly staying out after curfew, and because I had my first boyfriend. So,
You're
I wasn't doing what you guys thought I was doing. We were just spending a lot of time together.
Well, either way, I was broke most of the time, so I really couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah, so,
when I was that age.
So, her daughter had actually said something about, like, well, don't be a Piper's mom.
And she's like, what's that? Meaning, there's her friend Piper, her mom, will hide, like, in a bush or somewhere that she can keep an eye on Piper, and I'm like...
Yeah, she constantly follows Piper around. Now, I'm going to tell you that towards the end of that storyline, before Sarah Jessica Parker runs off to meet up with Zac Efron's character, was hilarious. I thought it was funny. So she actually sneaks out of the apartment to go to meet up with her friends because she was supposed to get her, I think it was going to be her first kiss from the guy that she likes, and the guy obviously likes her too.
And the guy she wanted to kiss is the dude who played on Wizard of Waverly Place, played the younger brother.
Yeah. So she runs off. Her mom finds her, but she catches up with her just as the doors to the subway or the train are closing. So then she tries to call Haley, I think was their daughter's name, and Haley was not answering. So,
I think that's saying, hey, I don't want to talk to you.
I mean, because she was upset because she wouldn't let her daughter hang out with her friends unsupervised. But then she was like, Piper's mom was probably going to be there watching them anyway, so they wouldn't have been completely unsupervised.
Yeah, it would have been fine.
So she finds out so Sarah Jessica Parker finds out from her brother, which we will get into who her brother is. She finds out from her brother where Haley is. She catches up with Haley just as the ball drops. Well, she's trying to get over to her friends before the ball drops so she can get that kiss from the guy that she likes. Well, one of her other friends, I think it was a friend, at least a classmate, kissed the guy without... He didn't want to kiss her.
But here's the thing, he didn't pull away.
He didn't pull away either. He might have just been shocked.
I don't know, but still, it's like...
Because he did, like, after, and then Haley saw them kissing, and then she starts to cry because she's like, I thought he was going to wait for me. And she turns around, her mom is there, and she, went into her mom's arms. And then the guy just kind of pulled away, and he's just kind of like, what just happened?
Yep.
Which, guys, don't kiss people without their consent, okay? That's bad. Always get consent first.
But then again, it was her friend who did the first move, too, so...
Yeah, because, I mean... I don't even know if it was actually her friend, though. Because they said something about, like, everybody in history class.
Well, either way, she pulled him in, so she needs consent from him, too.
Now, I think the whole he didn't pull away thing was they were probably just prolonging it to, just so... They probably prolonged it for the movie for... purpose,
yeah,
cinematic purposes.
That too, but like I said, it's just,
Yeah. So then they go to a diner, her and her mom do, and they're talking about it. Then her friends and that guy show up, and they're like, hey, we got parties to the Hard Rock Cafe. I think it was the Hard Rock Cafe, for an after party. She's like, do you want to go? And she's like, Mom, can I go? And her mom's like, yeah, go ahead. And Piper's mom is basically there watching them.
Yeah,
So
hiding behind those loud, was it those sticks that make noises?
she made me laugh.
I'm
So
like-
then, so Sarah Jessica Parker leaves
Yep.
to go meet Zac Efron's character. Well,
And-
first she went to the place where she designed clothes to change into to an outfit that she was designing for a special occasion. Then she went and she met his character.
Yeah.
So then back to her daughter, the guy shows up and he's like, "Hey, we were waiting for you." And she's like, "Well, I saw you kissing." I think she said her name was Lily. She's like, "I saw you kissing her," and he was like, "Well, I didn't want to."
But then again, he could have pulled away.
But remember, cinematic purposes.
I don't care. It's still thing,
Still, don't be going and kissing people without consent, guys. That's very
Women,
important.
too.
Guys, well, I used guys as like a general term.
Yeah, but then again, we're living in a day and age that
Girls, guys, non-binaries, all y'all.
yeah.
Don't be kissing without consent.
But then again, if you say guy to a non, no, I'm not getting into this crap. Anyway,
I say bye to guys. I say bye guys at work all the time.
well, either way,
even if I'm talking to females,
either
I
way,
use that as a general term. Okay.
I'm not getting into this crap right now. Anyways, like you're saying, yes, consent is always the key, please. Yes, what was it? Sarah Jessica Parker goes to Radio City to get changed,
We already talked about that.
and she meets up with the groomsman.
Zac Efron's character.
No, Zac Efron's character was her brother.
Was that Zac Efron?
Yeah. The guy you're talking about played in another movie.
Oh. Anyways, so back to the daughter. She's telling the guy that, hey, I saw you kissing Lily. He was like, I'm sorry, I didn't want to do that. And then he ends up kissing her. Piper's mom's sitting there watching him, being a creeper. And then, that kind of ends her story. So.
And then we get to Zac Efron's character, which ties into a little bit of
Sarah Jessica Parker's character, because that is her brother in the movie.
yes. I was going to correct you, but I didn't want to be rude.
Oh, you should have done it sooner.
Whoops.
Because now I look dumb. Fuck you, Mike. So,
Anyways, yes.
he's like a delivery person or something.
He's like he delivers stuff on a bike pretty much, for companies and everything.
And he's kind of like hitting on this older woman. I think she said, at the end, she said, I'm like twice your age or something like that. So,
I think what it was, he was trying to help her have a good New Year's Eve.
yeah, because she seems kind of timid. And she had asked her boss he shows up and he's like kind of like bugging her a little bit, and she's just like not like, ugh, and she's kind of just not into it. She tried to ask her boss like, hey, I need 2 weeks off. And then he's like, well, did I approve that? And she's like, well, you don't approve it. HR approves it. Well, he wasn't letting her. He was only going to let her have a week. And then she quit her job.
Yeah, and she'd be out, and also out there to any companies who not like if a person needs a couple of weeks off, let them have a couple of weeks off. And one thing, bro, boss, you don't approve it. HR does approve it. So
I don't know. Our supervisor has to approve ours.
Well, that's different with security.
Yeah.
But I don't know whoever proves it, whatever, right? Remember, we need a break too. We can't always be by your ass all the time.
Yeah. See, our company only allows us to have 40 hours of PTO. We don't get like actual vacation. So if we use our PTO for vacation and then we need our PTO later, we're screwed.
And that's pretty
Which
much.
I think is dumb.
Yes. But
We should at least have a week of vacation and 40 weeks of PTO, or 40 hours of PTO.
what was it? One time I'm watching this movie with John Candy. It was Summer Rental, and he's like some airline traffic controller, with the computers. They force him to go on vacation. I'm like, they can do that?
Some companies can force you to go on vacation, yeah.
I'm like, wait, they can do that? What the fuck? We need that.
Yeah. So, she hires the guy to help her do her New Year's resolution.
Which is Zac Efron's character. And pretty much he does help her out. He pretty much, what was it, shows the list.
So, yeah, she shows him the list, and she's like, I already did the first one, which was quit my job. So then there was like, go to Bali, go around, or travel around the world. We don't find out what the last New Year's resolution is until the end, but he does do his best to help her complete her New Year's resolution. So obviously he can't take her to, and she said, I want you to help me do this before the end of the year, or before midnight, and I will give you the tickets to that banquet that Katherine Heigl was catering.
And you're asking me how she got these tickets. Well, she worked in a record company as a something, right? Secretary, desk clerk, whatever it was. And pretty much he does what he does. He wanted breakfast at Tiffany's. I'm like, I guess you like breakfast at Tiffany's.
So basically they drank coffee in front of the Tiffany store.
And
Bali was going to a spa.
And somewhere in this like rundown, looks like a rundown building, but opened the door. I'm like, wonder what that is, because I would like to see that.
Yeah, and it was like called like something Bali. It kind of looked like they were in Bali. Around or driving or traveling around the world was, they have that, you probably have seen it in Men in Black with the big giant world globe thing. They rode around that. There was Take a Taxi with No Traffic,
which is a water taxi.
Which was a water taxi. So, he was being creative. She told him to be creative. Do what you basically can do. Well, she heard him telling Ashton Kutcher's character, which we will get into that, how they're connected. But she heard him telling him, hey, this woman's kind of pathetic. And he does apologize. And, there was Save a Life, which she adopted a dog. And a puppy. And, just stuff like that. And then she was like, when he finally gets her to the ball, because I think the second to last one was watch the ball drop in Times Square. So he gets her to the ball, or to Times Square, and she's like, don't worry about the last one. You did enough. And she hands him the invitations, and there was 4 of them. But he does show up as the ball drops to kiss her, because her last New Year's resolution was have a kiss at midnight. Or get a kiss at midnight. And he did.
He did. And she says I'm twice your age, but you get the point. And
apparently he likes those cougars.
Can I finish now? Anyways, now we get to Ashton Kutcher's character and the chick from Glee.
I think she's from Glee.
She's from Glee, I know, because I had friends who liked that show, and I thought it was crap.
Yeah, so they're actually best friends, and I think roommates as well.
Well,
Zac Efron's character and Ashton Kutcher's character.
Well, Ashton Kutcher's character is pretty much a comic book artist, whatever, right? And he's going down in the elevator with the
Lea
Michele, and they get trapped and they're just talking to each other. She's late to this job. Turns out she's a backup singer
for Jensen. So that's where that's connected there too.
And they just he thought she was a groupie, but they just talked for a while and realized they both had crappy experiences. And they finally, the elevator does work. They go down. Jim Belushi's the maintenance guy, and he sees she left her balance bands, those bands that help you keep your balance, and goes, finds her, gives it back to her, and
they share the kiss that they almost had when the elevator started moving.
And
then she actually got to sing in front of millions of people.
Whatever that song's called.
Yeah, the New Year's song that people tend to sing at the beginning of the new year. She does get to sing that song in front of millions of people, and it's televised because Jensen decided that he was going to go over to John Bon Jovi's character decided he was going to go over to Katherine Heigl, and she's like, "Wait, if you're here, then who's at Times Square?" And then you see her, Ashton Kutcher's character, is sitting there watching her, and I think that's pretty much all of the storyline. So they all interconnect somehow.
Yes.
Which I thought was a pretty interesting premise. Kind of like how I felt about Sliding Doors, which if you guys watched that video, it was just kind of like Gwyneth Paltrow's character, it was just like, this would have happened if she hadn't missed the train, and this would have happened if she hadn't if she hadn't and she had. And this was just kind of like, oh, you see how all these lives interact with each other and how they all interconnect. So then, of course, it's all just one big circle because, of course, with Leah Michelle's character, since it ties into Jensen ties into Hilary Swank's character, it just comes in one big full circle.
Yes, and pretty much it just ends there. You also see the cleaning crew, the street cleaning crew cleaning up after the place, and I'm like, you guys better pay them good for this.
Yeah.
I'll be like, I better get some double overtime for this or something because I have to clean up after you.
Yeah, because there's a lot of confetti that falls, and I'm sure they probably keep finding confetti like weeks after New Year's.
Yes, and I'm like, I get New Year's, but I'm just like, eh.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, it's a perfect time because it's celebrating the New Year and it's an excuse to drink. I'm like, I don't need an excuse to drink.
Well, see, we don't get to really celebrate New Year's this year because we have to go to work the next day. We work on New Year's Day because it falls on a Wednesday this year, which is actually this coming Wednesday. So, Happy New Year's, guys. We'll say it again later. But we do work. Mike and I do work Monday through Friday. Our site is open 24/7. Rain, snow, sleet, whatever. Even if they're closed, we have to be there.
Even in a bad snowstorm.
Even in a bad snowstorm, we do
hell,
have
I should get paid more just to try not to wreck my car.
Yeah, like they should give us some sort of hazard pay, and they don't. And I think that's wrong because Ohio weather
sucks.
Can get pretty bad. Like, it's not as bad as it is in like the Midwest, like further on in the Midwest, because we are considered the Midwest. We're like the edge of the Midwest, but it's not as bad as it can be. But there are still times when it can get pretty bad. And there was one year Mike and I had to go in when our site was closed for 2 days due to the weather, but we had to be there.
Yeah, and we had to, there was, like, snow everywhere. I can barely see the roads, and you're like, why you guys have to do this? Well, because we work. We have crappy companies.
We don't have a choice.
We don't have luxuries to work at home.
Yeah.
And truth be told, if you want to know why we still stuck, it's because we don't have enough followers or views to quit the job.
And that's what we're hoping to do, is we hope to get enough, subscribers and views to be able to quit our job so we wouldn't have to do something like that. So, you guys keep that in mind. And if you like what we do, share this with your friends who might like what we do.
All right, what's next week's hint?
So, Mike and I couldn't decide on which hint to give you. So, I'm going to give my hint, and he's going to give his. So, my hint is golden balls.
Give me your banana.
That's his hint. So, it's actually kind of fairly popular right now.
It's been out a month or so, couple months.
It just ended. This thing just ended. So we will be talking about that next week, and I'm kind of excited to be talking about it. So anyways, like, subscribe, comment below if you've seen it. Given what Rotten Tomatoes said about it, I didn't think it was nearly that bad. I gave it like a 7. Mike says he gives it a 6.
But, and also, before we end, if you saw the new Superman trailer, put in the comments what you think.
Why?
I don't know. I was bored. I want something to say.
That dog looks fake as fuck.
It is fake. It's CGI.
I know, and that's what I'm saying. It looks fake. Like they didn't do good enough job. Anyways.
Even faker than Superman's upper lip.
What?
Okay, Henry Cavill had a mustache during the Justice League movie, so he couldn't shave it, so they had to CGI his lip.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, anyways, like we said, like, subscribe, comment below if you've seen this movie. Did you like it? Whatever fuck it was that Mike said about the Superman movie or Superman trailer, whatever. So, we will see you guys next week. Happy New Year, guys. Bye.
Bye. Happy New Year.